Hello and welcome back to another episode of Handy Dandy Repairs. Today we've got a new one, something different. We've got a graphics card. I think it's a 3090, I believe. It's got a water block on it. It's for a customer. Let's go over to the overhead and we'll have a look at what the issue is. So this is the card. Now, as you can see, it's got the water block on it, so we're going to have to take that off. So the issue is these connectors here. You can actually see on top there's a burn mark there, and inside there, can't really see that. We'll have a look at that under the scope in a minute. But so anyway, this connector has melted. Not a common thing, but it was caused by a faulty extension, cable extension. Not saying a cable extension is a bad thing, but in this case, it has caused an issue. So I'll jump under the scope real quick and just show you the damage. So we can see melted connector there, slight melting on that one as well, and also over here as well. So both of these connectors are going to need to be replaced. That one there's the worst of it, but yeah, both of these connectors are going to have to be replaced. Now, luckily the customer has supplied a bunch of them. So let's quickly tear this down, get it apart, and then we'll check that the new ones are compatible and get stuck into the repair. Alright. Let's jump under the scope and we'll do a bit of an inspection. Inspect around the board for anything obvious. Lovely. Alright. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the board suspended slightly. Okay. Now there's a few methods of getting this off. We're going to go for the low melt solder option. So what we need is a little bit of low melt solder. Got a few little bits here, hopefully it'll be enough. So first things first, I'm just going to take the nozzle off my hot air. We're going to come in at around about 200 degrees. Not enough to melt the solder, but just enough to get some heat into the board. And we're just going to circle it around the area and just slowly warm up the board just a little bit, just to preheat it. Add just a touch of flux to the area. Okay. Now we come in with our nice big iron for lots of heat transfer. And of course our low melt solder as well. And we're just going to add some low melt solder to these pins here. holder's just not working for me. I might have to just hang it off the edge of the bench here, I think. Just add some weight to it. Let's come over here. Hopefully this will be a bit more secure and I can put a bit more, I can free up the hand. While the board's hot, we'll come in with our solder sucker. Clean these holes out. Get the low melt on there. It might be easy to do this with the iron. We'll also come in with some wick just to try and clean up the rest of that. Bit of flux in the hole, that's fine. Okay, so that one's all done. Now we'll just move the camera over a bit, focus on the next one. Holes appear clean from the other side. There's a bit of flux. Now we'll give it a bit of a quick clean up as we go. Just going to make our life easier at the end. Nice and clean again. Put that hole right there. Not sure if that's flux or solder. Look at the back side. Might be a bit of solder actually. Let's hit that with some touch of flux. We'll fill the hole back up with some low melt solder. Let that soak through for a second and mix with whatever's in there. grab a fresh bit of wick. That's better. Now we can clean that one last time. Let's just quickly compare. Come over here. You've got our new connector here. And our old one here. So I might do this with the overhead camera. Okay, so here's our new connectors. So you can see that they are about the same length. The new one looks like it has longer pins. It's not really a problem though. Oh, hang on. I've just noticed. So the locking tab is on the wrong side. The problem with that is this one should be going this way. So the problem with that is obviously one side of the connector is your ground, the other side is your power, and then there's obviously two data lines as well. So the problem with having this is if you're going to flip your cable around, you're going to swap your grounds and neutrals. Now the pins obviously come out in the same way. So you can see the top pins go to one side of the board, the rear pins go to the other side of the board. Now, if you're swapping the orientation, so if you can imagine this, the side, I'll put a diagram on the screen just here, but the side with the locking pin, or locking tab, whatever you want to call it, is the ground side. Sorry, let me come back over here. Yeah, so this side is your ground side. This side is your power. This will be the same when it's in that orientation. But by swapping it over, it's not going to be right. So I'm going to have to reach out to the customer, order new connectors, and we'll have to come back to this. I'm going to pause the video there and we'll get back to it. Okay, so I've spoken to the customer and he's given me the go ahead to just use some donor parts. So I have these here that I've just taken off donor boards, which are compatible and genuine parts off other donor boards. So they'll work. He's given me the go ahead to use them. So let's get these soldered on. Now first things first, let's go under the scope here. Now let's give this side of the board a bit of a clean up. Okay, lovely and clean. A little bit of residual solder in there, but that's not a big deal. Alright, so back over to this side. Now, we've got our two donor ones here. We'll just confirm these are the good ones. This one and this one. We'll slip that up through the holes. Now, luckily it's got these plastic locking tabs here, so it sort of holds itself in place, which is great. But we will still apply pressure as we solder. Now this one doesn't have those locking tabs. It has just locating tabs, so not going to work as well, unfortunately. And that one doesn't want to go through the hole. May still have some old solder in there. There we go. Okay. See if we can clear that out easily. Apply a little bit of heat to be able to push that through. Again, we will apply firm pressure as we solder these. So we go back onto the bench now. And apply some flux. And we'll get some fresh solder on our iron. Some non-low melt solder this time. I'm just going to press down on the board and just tack this in place. Like that. Get some more solder on our iron. Tack one in from this side. And we'll do the same with the other one. Apply pressure down. Tack a pin there. And again on the other end. Tack that pin there. Okay. Now we come through and we solder them correctly. Now, same as taking them off, heat is our friend. So we're just going to come in and preheat the board a little bit with some hot air. And with our big iron, we're just going to go across and solder these pins. Now we'll clean those up while applying a bit of hot air. That's just going to help the solder flow through the board and give us that nice fillet join that we want. You don't want enough to melt the solder, enough hot air to melt the solder, you just want enough to help the solder flow through the board, just like that. Lovely joins there. Now we'll come over and do the next one. Because the lighting's horrible. Hopefully that's a bit better for you. And you can already see these ones are looking better just by having that heat in the board. But just like the last one, we will come back in with some hot air. Just to sort of reflow them. Most of them look pretty good already though. Lovely. Come with our brush, a bit of an isopropyl and a white. Just pick up the majority of that flux. And we've got some lovely looking solder joins. And nice and clean board. Check the other side. We want to see that the solder's come up the legs like it has. On most of them anyway. I'm pretty happy with that. Someone probably could have used a little bit more solder, but nevertheless it's come up the leg, it looks great. So now we'll give this side a clean as well. Hopefully these little sponges are small enough to get in there. Beautiful. Love it. And that's that job pretty much done. So now the next step is to give the card a quick test. So I'm going to probably take a bit of time setting up my test bench real quick in a way where you guys can see what's going on. Okay, here's our test bench. You can see in the top corner here I've got recording on my phone to the screen because I can't capture this at the moment. So that's our test bench here. So we'll go ahead and shut that down. And we'll get the graphics card installed. So we'll just carefully slot that in there. And grab some PCI adapters, power cables. Get it powered up. One and two. And we'll move the HDMI to the graphics card. We'll just support that. And we will turn it back on. We're going to watch up in the corner, see if we get an image on the screen. There we go. Took a few minutes to boot just to make sure it's detecting, but that is working. We're connected to the graphics card. That's this HDMI cable here, which plugs directly into the monitor over there. And just like that. So we're going to turn that off, make sure it doesn't overheat. And that's it. Alright, we're going to call it there. This is fixed. I'm going to get in touch with the customer, let him know it's ready to pick up. He did say he's going to test it for me and record like a proper benchmark. So if he does and I do get sent that video, I'll put that here. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell notifications, and let me know what you want to see me repair in future videos.